We'll be taking you through one of the theories of motivation by Douglas McGregor, a theory that bases its analysis or agrees much with Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Someone may ask, why the essence of this theory? This theory helps to bridge human psychology to business and also understand the organizational culture of humans. I will be taking you through certain points or certain aspect of the presentation that has to do with a short simulation on the theory X and theory Y, some quotes of Douglas McGregor, his early life and education, his personal life and career, the theory that is theory X and theory Y, and I will conclude with some of the critics on theory Y. Now to his quotes. One quote I really love so much, that is, an objective without a plan is a dream. Relationship is a growing part of life, not life growing apart. The ingenuity of the average worker is sufficient to outwit any systems of control devised by management. Someone may ask why all these quotes. We can start with this presentation without acknowledging this handsome man and some of his wise sayings. I love this man so much, Douglas McGregor. Now to his early life and education. Douglas was born in Detroit, that is the largest and most populous city in the U.S. state of Michigan, on September 6, 1906, to Murray James and Jason McGregor. Hence his name, Douglas McGregor. He was a volunteer in a homeless shelter, which was a family business known as the McGregor Institution. He earned a Bachelor's of Engineering in Mechanical Engineering from Rangon Institute of Technology in Burma. He also had a Bachelor of Acting and Administration from Wayne State University in the year 1932. In the year 1933 and 1935 respectively, he earned an MA and PhD in psychology. So now, I believe you all know why he is classified as a social scientist, because psychology has to do with the study of the human behavior and the mind. Now to his career. He taught in my dream school, that is Harvard University and Massachusetts Institute of Technology, where he was one of the first professors in the Sloan School of Management. He served as the president of Antioch College of Ohio, now known as Antioch University, Midwest, from 1948 to 1957. And in 1954, McGregor returned to teaching at MIT, where he taught until his death in 1964. What a life lived so short. Okay, to his personal life, one interesting aspect of this man. He got married at the age of 19, and he was very close to Abraham Maslow. Someone may ask why. He was one of the students of Abraham Maslow. That is why his theory agrees so much with Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And one interesting thing about him is that in class he had a very relaxed teaching style, which led to his students to enjoy his classes. Do you know what he does? He would teach by putting his feet on the desk and be lecturing at the same time. Wow! And in 1964, McGregor died at the age of 58 in Massachusetts. Sorry. Okay, to the theory itself. According to Douglas, he believes that our belief shapes our behavior, and our behavior in turn shapes the behavior of the people around us. I would love to ask this question, but I guess I don't have anyone to ask this question, but I guess you guys will leave the comments for me to come and read and reply. The question I want to ask is, what interest or what motivates an individual to wake up every morning to go to work? I know someone may say that, maybe they find great satisfaction in the work and find pride in doing the best possible job. Or maybe they just see work as a burden and just want to do it for the sake of the money. You can see all these assumptions can be grouped into two main domains. That is an assumption that has to do with satisfaction and an assumption that has to do with we love money, we want to work for the money. Which one do you belong to? According to Douglas, these are the two assumptions that influences how managers view their employees and in turn determines the management style they will adopt. Now to the theory itself, that is theory X and theory Y. In the 1960s, Douglas developed two constructing theories that explain how managers' beliefs about what motivates their people can affect their management style. He labeled these assumptions as theory X and theory Y and explained it in one of his interesting books, that is The Human Side of Enterprise. According to Douglas, the theory X is said to be an authoritarian style of management, and the theory Y is more of a participatory or participative style of management. Theory X, from the diagram, the beliefs about the people, this management style, the managers see the employees to be lazy, and that I will go into details. So according to the theory X, the managers tend to have a pessimistic view of their people. Pessimistic in the sense that they only see the bad side of these employees, So from this diagram, you can see a manager holding a cane and trying to force 8 employees to work. That is due to some assumptions they have about their employees. The first assumption has to do with employees are inherently lazy, requiring correction and control, avoiding responsibility and seeking security. According to this manager, employees are naturally lazy. As one man I love so much always says, that Ghana man is naturally born bad. So you can see these managers view their employees to be lazy. So the only way they will work is through correction, to control them, to force them to work. Another assumption has it that work is distasteful, and therefore workers must be directed and threatened with punishment. Yeah, they feel like work is an imposition. To work is a burden, so they will try their possible best to avoid work. So what must you do to put these people on track? According to these managers, unless they are threatened through punishment. I can't remember, we had this physics teacher way back in SHS, and he had this assumption that ladies in the natural sense do not like math. So anything with calculation in, they are not ready to do. So do you know what this man does? He comes to class purposely for the ladies. And I tell you, a single stroke at our back helps us to solve momentum questions we've never seen in our life. So this man thinks that ladies do not like math. So in order for them to work, what must he do? He has to beat us before we can love math. So these are some of the assumptions. Another one has to do with employees must be motivated through force, pecuniary consideration, which is also known as financial incentives, and praise to achieve results. They think that members will not work. They are not naturally ambitious or intelligent. So in order for them to work, unless you motivate them, unless you reward them or praise them, before these people will be willing to diminish a work. Okay, so from what I have explained, according to the theory X, so we can see that the theory X is in two folds. That is the hard approach and the soft approach. The hard approach has to do with let's use force, let's use implicit threat, and this in turn will lead to hostility, low output, because if you force someone every day against his or your wish, or there is strict supervision, these people are going to end up just leaving the company, and it's going to put the reputation of the company at risk. There will be high employee turnover. That is, a lot of employees just leaving the company. The soft approach has to do with, okay, let's be permissive, let's seek harmony, in the hopes that in return these employees will cooperate when asked. But you see, humans have a nature of, if you leave us to our free will, we are going to exaggerate, we are going to do things in abundance, like we are going to do this out of the box. So these people will be like, okay, unless you motivate us, we are not ready to do it. So there will always be higher demands of rewards in order to diminish what? A work. So you can see the theory X mindset, according to the managers, has to do with a negative response from the employees. They have behaviors that managers see to be more of a pessimistic view, as I explained earlier. So before they will be willing to do a work, unless these people are forced, unless they are punished, unless they are motivated. And this motivation is more of satisfying a lower level need. Now to some of the advantages of Theory X. So some employees thrive on an authoritarian management style. You can see in every company or in every... So with the first advantage of Theory X, you mostly hear students in groups saying, "Me the one forcing me awake in the menu." So this person, you can see this person needs force. You have to force this person in order for him or her to work. So you can see with the advantages, someone may love the authoritarian style of management, in as much as someone within that company will also not love that particular style of management. Also, it focuses on the achievements of company goals. You can see that for the Theory X, it is more dive to let's achieve the organizational goals, whether by force, by control, by implicit threats. We have to achieve the organizational goal. It doesn't really think about the welfare of the employees. And also, there is no room for ambiguity. My dear, you can see that the roles within the organization are spelled out. Because the manager comes, you are supposed to do this, you do that, you. So you can see it is clearly outlined for everyone to see what he or she is supposed to do. With the disadvantages of Theory X, some employees do not work well under such strict enforcement. Yeah, it is very true. In as much as there is an authoritarian style of management that the managers see these employees to be, unless we force them, they are not going to work. We have people within that company who wouldn't love that style of what? Management. Also, not everyone is motivated by financial gain, you know. You can't force someone to work because you want to satisfy the person's low-level need, or you want to satisfy that person's monetary aspect. No, some people will love to work from their own free will. They take pride, satisfaction in doing the best possible work. Now to the Theory Y, which is the opposite of the Theory X. As the diagram portrays, the Theory Y people or the managers, they think individuals can achieve their own goals and happily accomplish the organizational goals at the same time. They don't need to be forced. So according to the Theory Y, managers have an optimistic opinion of their people, and they use a decentralized participative management style. And this type of management style encourages collaboration. You can see for this aspect, the managers see the employees to be, they are ambitious. They only see the positive side of these employees. They don't need to be forced to do this. They come out from their own free will, participatory, they will do the work. So they have certain assumptions like employees liking work naturally. So they think employees are naturally born as hard workers. They don't need to be forced. they come out from their own free will and just work. They also have love for work. As I said earlier, there is this great satisfaction they see in executing the task or in performing their work. They don't need to be forced. They don't need to be threatened. That is according to these managers. Also, they shouldn't be directed, controlled. Looking at an ambitious person, a person who is intelligent, you don't need to force this person. So you quite remember we have teachers way back in SHS who will be like, hey, I think I'm born on. We crack, yeah, you had this physics teacher who always crack those jokes. So you can see an intelligent person, an ambitious person do not need to be told what to do before you do. So these are some of the assumptions of these managers, that employees in the natural sense love to work. They are ambitious, they are intelligent, they accept responsibility and solve problems creatively and imaginatively. So according to McGregor, the central principle of the theory Y is that of integration. That is, individuals can achieve their own goals by also forcing their efforts on the objectives of the organization they work for. So with the theory Y, it assumes that control, rewards, and punishments are not the only way to stimulate people to work, but that people can come out from their own free will and work participatory. So some of the advantages of theory Y. Said it's an appealing management style. Yeah, we have people that they work best when it is more of participation. You bring up your views, I also bring up my views. We come to a consensus. They love that type of management style. It also gives employees freedom and responsibility. Who doesn't want this? Everyone wants to be given freedom. But it allows them to perform better because they are able to bring out their views without being coerced, without being forced to do something. They just bring out their views so on board, so that we all discuss. It also encourages teamwork. Teamwork, we all want to achieve a certain goal. Individuals have to bring certain things on board. We have to bring our ideas on board. Unlike the theory X, which has to do with from the top to the down. But this one, it's like within. Everyone is trying to participate or bring an idea on board in order to achieve the objectives of the organization. So the disadvantages, as said earlier, according to the theory X, not everyone will be comfortable with undefined boundaries. Some people want to be forced. Others want a participatory type of management. So not everyone is going to buy to this type of management. Also, it will be easy to abuse the freedom and trust. Yeah, because they see the managers to be just free. They are all participating with the employees, bringing out their ideas, everything on board. So they see it to be more of, we can even abuse the freedom. Can say what we want, can do what we want, and can be harder to measure success. Yeah, because it focuses on a quantifiable metrics. I brought this diagram here because I wanted to use it to explain the critics of theory Y. The reason being that, according to McGregor, the goal of managers using theory X management style was to accomplish organizational goals through the organization's resources. So McGregor's research has suggested that when work was better aligned with human needs and motivation, employee productivity would increase. And according to some critics, McGregor claims that if human resources or human needs are well aligned with the employee's motivation, there will be higher productivity. So some critics have suggested that, so if that is the case, then the theory Y managers are simply engaged in a seductive form of manipulation. Even as managers better match work tasks to the basic human motivational needs through participative management, then they are just using it as a way of manipulating people to bring on board their views or to participate in order to increase the productivity of the company. So, in as much as this theory Y looks at the participatory style of management, according to critics, they are just using this style in order to manipulate and seduce these employees so that there will be an increase in productivity. So it's just like the theory X, which also uses like force to make their employees to work. So with the theory Y, according to critics, unless these members or employees are allowed to enjoy in the economic benefits of the company, then they've just used them. Instead of thinking about their welfare, they've also been used like the theory X. I just want to conclude with this. So from what I've said, you can see that according to McGregor, his theory is based on Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So he divides Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs into two categories. That is the lower level needs and the higher level needs. So the theory X is more of the lower level needs, which has to do with the satisfaction of low level needs. And according to McGregor, when a lower level need is satisfied, there is no more motivation. But the theory Y, which looks at a higher level needs, that is self-actualization, the self-esteem. These type of needs can never be satisfied. So there is always a motivation to do well, to work, to improve the productivity of the company. I will end with just a nice simulation from some of my colleagues, and it's so nice. Yeah, let's enjoy ourselves. Bye-bye.
Hey, my friend, why are you relaxing? I told you I need the work to be done by 9 a.m., but then it's not done. Why are you sleeping? You've come to work here, you are sleeping. No, work. I need you to work. I need it in the next 10 minutes. Do you get me? Hurry up. I need it in the next 10 minutes. I'm in my office. I need you to be done the next 10 minutes.